I almost decided to give up on gardening altogether this year because of this one thing that is the most annoying when you are in a wheelchair and you are trying to garden, which is getting dirty. Yes, I get that this is probably an issue for everybody that gardens, but for somebody in a wheelchair, it is even worse for these reasons. Number one, we have a lap that catches everything. It's so annoying when I'm trying to weed the garden or dig in the garden and I fling dirt out of the garden and it lands in my lap and inevitably it goes under my butt. So it just makes my whole chair disgustingly dirty and it's really annoying because then I get my pants dirty, I get my chair dirty, I get everything dirty and it sucks. Number two, I can't take my wheels off like people that are gardening that are able-bodied can take their shoes off when they go in the house. So I track so much dirt into my house whenever I'm gardening and it's really annoying. I have wasted hours of my life cleaning my tires and I just hate it, so I avoid doing the things that I want to do, like weeding the garden. And number three, I do not want to get my hands dirty because I have to put these things near my pee hole when I cath next time. So it is really scary for me to get all the dirt and grime and germs and bacteria and all that stuff on my fingers and under my fingernails because then I'm just dreading getting a UTI after I'm done gardening. So I avoid doing the things that I want to do in my garden. But despite all these challenges, I really do want to be a good gardener. I like having fresh veggies and I dream of being a homesteader someday. So I want to be able to figure out solutions to all of these annoying issues and be able to garden as much as I want to love gardening. So in this video, I am going to show you guys some things that I hope I've figured out or strategies that I've come up with to stay clean while gardening. I will show you guys the things that I got from Amazon. It'll be short because there's really only two things. And then we will test them out. So we'll kick this video off with a fashion show to show you the things that I got. Give me a sec. Ta-da! These are the things that I got to hopefully stay clean in the garden. The thing that I'm wearing on top is an apron that is a crisscross apron instead of one that you have to tie up. You just put one strap over your head or one arm over this head and one arm over this head and then it crisscrosses in the back so that you don't have to tie anything up and it stays on. And then I got these gloves that go all the way up to my, armpits almost. Because one of the things that I found with regular gardening gloves is that every time I was digging, if I would get too deep, then the dirt would actually just go inside the glove and it was really annoying. And I just don't want to get dirt all over my arms when I'm resting my elbow on the planter box in order to balance. And it also helps with me getting all scratched up from like the cucumber plants and the zucchini plants because they have not like thorns, but like kind of spikes almost. And I was scratching my arms a lot and then I was getting like an allergic reaction and it was just annoying. So this is what I'm going to use to stay clean. I was hoping to find a solution for my tires, but there's just really nothing out there that you can put over your tires that makes sense. I think I'm just going to have to suck it up and clean off my tires. So I'll do that with the hose before I go in like I normally would. But hopefully this will keep my wheelchair where I'm sitting, my legs and all of that stuff clean. Let's go test this out. My garden is full of weeds right now because I weeded it once in the spring and didn't do anything, and I actually have to plant my garden, so I have to weed it first to get all of the junk out of it. So that's what we're gonna do. Then I'm going to sort of make a plan of what I am planting, and then I'm gonna get to planting, and then we'll reconvene at the end of this video to see if I stayed clean. So stay tuned. These are my super weedy garden beds. There were all kinds of weeds in there, grass, thistle, clover, all kinds of things, and it is amazing how fast weeds grow because I did weed this once before I did this video and I had to do it again, obviously, because they had grown back. If you have not seen any of my other garden videos, then you will not know that my husband built this beautiful deck and all of the garden boxes that are all around it. and that make gardening so much easier for me. It is custom to my height of my wheelchair, so I'm able to reach easily in there without having to bend down too far or reach up. And it made the weeding definitely easier. I was able to get the weeding all done and was ready to plant the actual seeds in about an hour. These gloves are so sweaty, like just full of water when I take them off. It's pretty gross actually, but they're keeping my hands clean, so they're doing the job. I just have to figure out something to put inside, like other gloves that can absorb all the sweat, because it is hot today and I'm sweaty and these gloves are nasty. Here is my garden all ready for me to plant the seeds, and in order to do that easily, I wanted to go around the garden bed and place the seed packets in the area that I needed to plant them, so that I didn't have to carry them on my lap and drop them all over the grass and pick them up. So that is what I did, and then I was ready to get planting. The vegetables I decided to plant this year are zucchini, cucumber, onions, chives, basil, bok choy, and peas. And the reason that I chose these is because I feel like they are the lowest maintenance. The first year that I did my garden, I planted spinach, and that was such a pain in the butt because spinach gets something called leaf miners in it, and they are these tiny little eggs from basically flies that lay on the underside of the leaf, and then the fly larva hatches on the leaf and mines its way into the leaf and sort of eats the leaf from the inside out, and it was super friggin' annoying. So I had to constantly wipe the eggs off, and if I didn't catch it, then the larva would be inside the plant. You either have to squish the larva, which is really gross, or you just, you let it eat it. And so it was really a lot of work to get out there and try and prevent that. If I really wanted to, I could get like these garden mesh things and prevent them from getting into the spinach by covering my crops. But like I said, for now, I am just doing the lowest maintenance things in order to get better and to master sort of the techniques that gardening requires. So I'm planting zucchini right now, and the first year that I did this, I did not listen to the rules on how to plant the actual seeds, and I was like, that's way too far apart, and did not realize how big zucchini gets. So if you're planting zucchini, it has to be 2.5 feet apart between each little seed plant. So don't be dumb like I was. I tried wearing the gloves when I was planting the seeds, but as you can see, they were not productive at all. The fingers were just way too big for me to be able to actually open the seed packets and to grab the seeds, and so I pretty much abandoned the gloves after about 2.5 minutes of trying to open this seed packet, and just got dirty with my fingers, which is the whole point of this video, trying to avoid getting dirty. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do in the name of function. So for this video, we are just going to get dirty for a little bit of it and then judge the gloves on the areas that I did use them in. It took me about half an hour to plant all of the seeds, maybe a little longer, and then it was time for me to water the seeds, so I had to go to the front yard to get the hose and hook it up to my watering system. If you noticed, when I was planting the seeds and weeding, there were little black things in the garden that are actually sprinklers that my husband set up for me, so that all I had to do was hook up the hose and it would water my flower bed. And it is actually on a little timer most of the year, so that I don't actually have to think about watering at all, because it's such a pain in the butt to drag the hose and to do all of that. Okay guys, it's time for the final verdict on whether my gardening strategies were successful in keeping me clean. My gloves that are super long and my super long apron. If you're wondering why I'm in totally different clothes, by the way, it's because I filmed this when I was doing the gardening video and then I lost the footage somehow. So it's a couple days later and I'm in a different outfit. So yeah, my apron and my gloves, did they work to keep me clean? I'm overall pretty impressed with the job that they did. The gloves did their job of, you know, keeping my arms protected when I was leaning on the gardening boxes and when I was digging really deep. They did not work when I was planting seeds because they are a little bit too big. I have small hands and I just didn't have the dexterity I needed to grab little seeds. So I ended up getting my hands dirty anyway when I was gardening. But when I was weeding the garden and, you know, when I will be weeding the garden, they did a pretty good job of keeping me clean. They were super friggin' sweaty though. So I'm not sure that they are a long-term solution, especially if it's going to be a hot summer, because it was pretty much like water inside the gloves when I took them off. I did find a solution for that when I was taking breaks. I would turn them inside out and just leave them in the sun and they would dry pretty quickly. So, you know, it's not a huge deal if they get sweaty, but it's kind of gross. So they did the job, but with a few minor sort of hiccups. The apron did its job too. It definitely kept my wheelchair clean. I had to change my strategy halfway through because I had it tucked in the sides and it wasn't actually keeping dirt off of my wheelchair. So I just kind of draped it over my wheelchair, which then did the job pretty well. And I thought it was gonna get caught in my wheels, but it didn't. I wheeled around just fine like that. So I think I will use it like that for the rest of the summer. So it did the job. The only thing that I didn't like about the apron was that when I was wheeling around, it was falling off my shoulder some of the time because it's a little bit too big for me. So I think one that actually ties up might be a little bit better because you can actually tie it as tight as you need to. But it's, you know, it's a good enough apron, and for the times that I'm going out in the yard, it'll do the job. I'll just have to make sure that it's nice and centered on my shoulders so that it's not, you know, falling off of one or the other. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with the job that the two little tools that I bought did to keep me clean. If you guys have any tips for me on how to make gardening more accessible or even just how to grow vegetables, please leave them in the comments because, like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm a novice gardener and I'm still learning, so any tips from you would be greatly appreciated. So if you're in a wheelchair and you have tips for me, please throw them in the comments. The outdoors can be very frustrating when you have a disability, but even with all the challenges, it is so worth it. Nature is therapeutic in so many ways, and I encourage you to get outside in whatever way you can, whether it's gardening in your backyard, wheeling on some accessible trails, or even camping. If you love the outdoors but aren't sure how to navigate things like camping, I encourage you to check out these videos, which I'll put in the cards up above and in the description below, where I show some solutions that I figured out to make things like camping more accessible. Finally, before I go, I would like to invite you to join my Patreon community. For as little as $2 a month, you can get all of these videos that you're watching here on YouTube ad-free and early, and you can even get Zoom Hangouts with me if you sign up for the $10 tier. There is even one coming up this week on Thursday, June 27th, at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So if you're watching this on Wednesday, the day that it comes out, it is tomorrow. And I would love to see any new faces there. It is a really fun way for me to get to know all of my subscribers and a fun way for you to interact with me as well. So I will leave the link in the description of this video for where you can sign up for Patreon, and I hope you do. I hope to see you there. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you back here on another video. Bye!